You know who was this is called Homeland Sanctuary. Before 1776, the United States, well, the colonies, British colonies, were the dumping grounds of all the scumbags in Europe. You got criminals, you dumped them in Boston, New York, anywhere. They landed, you took off the chains, and off they were dumped. So yes, yes, yes. So if your ancestors fought in 1776, it's very likely they either came over as slaves in chains or prisoners, British prisoners in chains. What was the British Army fighting over here? The scumbags they deported to the colonies. Yeah, that's that thing. And we were a sanctuary. You had to cross, when this country was basically established, you had to cross two oceans to get here. hmm Especially European oceans. You wanted, if there's a war raging in Europe, well, we were isolated. We had the Atlantic Ocean to isolate that thing. Yes, and we were a colonies, backward, primitive. Oh, I'll give you an example. While Europeans had paved roads or paved cities, towns, villages, Europe, you know, it was basically a mud path. Until the automobile came around, we were extremely primitive. Almost open sewage everywhere. Our rivers were sewage, our creeks were sewage. Right. But that changed. And I says it's sanctuary. It was sanctuary during World War II. The Japanese were on the West Coast. The Germans were on the East Coast. And if they wanted to land anybody here, there was a lot of Americans here with rifles in their hands. Japanese would have landed in the West Coast. They wouldn't find any Japanese civilians there. They were all pushed inland. Not to do a glorious time to that thing, but they were pushed inland for a reason. We expect to see Japanese to land in Hawaii, San Francisco, the West Coast. We expected to see German troops, actually German troops, on the East Coast. That war frightened a lot of people. And we were a sanctuary because of those two oceans there. What changed? Remember after World War II? The Russians have the bomb, they have aircraft, they can reach Chicago. You know what was in this country? Nike sites. They were to shoot down a Russian plane. I'm quite sure a Russian plane carrying an atomic bomb of any size. And if it explodes up there or explodes on the ground, it's still going to explode. No, it's not going to hit Chicago because we got all these Nike sites around. Oh, yeah. There was a Nike site on O'Hara Field. Did anybody know about it? Nope, nobody knew about it. There's one up at Half Day. Does anybody know about it? Maybe. Usually not. There's one down. The one they did know about was the one in Lake Michigan. Oh, great. We're going to shoot down a Russian plane over Lake Michigan. Okay. What made them obsolete? I got to remember that thing. These things were still active until the 70s. Why? They were still active. They still had the little missiles in them. They decommissioned them. Oh, the anti-Vietnam people kind of like, they had a lot to do with that. But the day that Sputnik was launched, and that little satellite went around the planet, bing, 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 it made those Nike sites obsolete. Because if you could launch a Sputnik basketball size thing, you can launch an atomic bomb. That's another frightening thing right now. North Korea can go to war with the United States and win. They're capable of launching a nuclear warhead into space, and as the United States passes, or that either it passes over the United States or the United States passes under that, they figure it going off above Kansas City will produce an electromagnetic pulse that will knock out this laptop, my car, the electronics in this house, and drop every airplane that's flying. Maybe your Piper Cub is a little bit different, but all the other airplanes, big 707s, right on the ground. And what will happen is very likely, well, nuclear power plants are pretty well insulated. A lot of military stuff is pretty well insulated. But if you think a traffic jam on the local expressway is something, wait until you get an EMP and every car on there, every car, air truck, and everything else electronic on there dies. And if we go to war with China, you will expect all your communications will be disrupted, period. Boom. And we were that thing. We were that thing. We're no longer that. We got something called the flat earth. There was a book called The Flat Earth thing, but basically it's a flat earth. Somebody with a computer in Moscow, or somebody with a computer in Ottawa, or somebody with a computer in Mexico can shut off our nuclear power plants, or basically shut them down. Okay. Yeah, you look at your computer and see all the messages from all around the world. Why, you just won something. Contact us. Congratulations, you won something. Right. Tap here. But our sanctuary is gone. Well, thank Microsoft. Thank the internet. Mm-hmm. Thank Google. Mm-hmm. Amazon. You want to thank Amazon too? Twitter. Well, we're now owned by Musk. Oh, I like the one what Twitter did to one of my accounts on Facebook. You see the little Twitter, little Twitter thing, and your name and that thing is now a Twitter account. Yes, kind of like that. But yeah, it's everybody is everybody. There's no hiding. Your cell phone, I get messages from, who do I know in New York? Somebody called me the other day from Florida. Is your computer on? What computer? Well, your computer's on. It is? Wow. Huh. I have to ask the robot if they turned on the computer. Yes, you ever got that one yet? That's very interesting. Well, you have a laptop, don't you? No, I don't have a laptop. Mm-hmm. But as I said, we lost our sanctuary long ago. We don't have it now. Anybody can contact you on your cell phone, which I always find out there. I'm driving down the street and this voice comes over my speakers in the car. And it turns out to be why, you got problems with your engine. You see the engine light on? Yeah, I do. Well, you got to do something about that. And they give me recommendations of where I go to get it done. Some local gas station, they don't pump gas. They just have, it's like, oh. As you drive further around, it pops up again. Why, going to this local gas station here, they can fix your car. Interesting. Oh, well.